a small town in northern Minnesota. It's a pretty good place to grow up in. It's primarily a working class town. Everyone was unionized. It votes 80% Democratic.
Go used to have reasons to believe, motivated to achieve. Used to be free, but now instead of me, there's a gun pointed at my head. Rough days, tough days, we're heading up to a big bad zero. Rough days, tough days, everybody's looking for a brand new hero.
I remember once being stopped by the police. This 4 of us drove through, it's a tourist area, and we drove through a campground at about 11 o'clock, honking the horn, yelling at people to get up.
Rough days, tough days.
I portrayed Mrs. Miller in the Winter Frolic talent show, and was the hit of the show. Well, I had balloons as breasts and a wig, some sort of operatic dress. They thought it was a hoot.
Tough days, we're heading up to a big bad zero. Rough days, tough days, everybody's looking for a brand new hero. Everybody's looking. Every time I'm lonely, you'll find me reaching for the stars. Believe and you go far, no matter who or where you are right now. I see a rainbow in the teardrop that you cry. Take a look on down the line, see the colors as they shine on your tomorrow.
3 people had gone to the University of Chicago before me, so I was aware of that they had a scholarship program for people from small towns. In fact, I spent 1/3 of my time there under suspended suspension. And it was also the war. I mean, the war was just the war, and just the stark difference of, seeing real urban poverty for the first time in my life. And going to school with some of the wealthiest children in the nation was a bit of a contradiction. I had to work my way through school. I worked 20 to 30 hours a week the whole time. And I was involved in the Black Panther Defense Committee, and I also cooked in a Black Panther children's breakfast program. And I was involved in tutoring underprivileged kids, in a very poor area about 10 blocks from the university.
If you're ready to take that initial leap, reaching for the stars, reaching for
It was an odd city. It was sort of a mini Los Angeles. There was no housing because it was growing so quickly. Whites were definitely at the top of the power structure, with blacks in Chicago and Indians at the bottom. Some friends and I got involved in an underground newspaper there at the time called Sears Kid. We saw one issue, and I think 4 or 5 of us were working on it the next issue. And eventually we put it together in our house. And, it was amazing. We'd go out to high schools and hand them out, and I got arrested at an Air Force base for handing it out. And then we helped them to organize one to get the maximum turnout. Police murdered a couple ground berets. Writer's syndrome, a form of osteoarthritis.
Don't give a damn. What's it doing to me?
Well, I started working for the United Farm Workers as a volunteer, and eventually got hired by them for the $30 a month plus room and board. Now, while I was in Madison, Wounded Knee happened, and I went there. A group of Indian people, being part Indian myself, and stayed there for 7 weeks. Probably one of the major experiences of my life. Although there were shortages, you were surrounded by the government, and food, eventually became very sparse, that most people were willing to share. I was in the security office because I had the arthritis and had problems. So a lot of times I would be in charge of doling out ammunition to people. What I was most impressed by there was that Wounded Knee wouldn't have happened without 4 elderly Sioux women sort of putting their feet down and saying, we've had enough of this situation on the reservation. It was basically a police state with people who had basically sold out, getting government money, attacking more traditional people who were a lot more honest and on the up and up. They took over the town and made demands. They wanted a change in the local government. They wanted to meet with the Justice Department. They made demands, which I thought were quite reasonable. Well, just the fact that people can really share, a group of people can really share. But it was it was also living conditions during wartime. I mean, you are surrounded, and I did have bullets coming, within a foot of me. Well, I had a lot of crappy jobs. I organized a union at a school for multiply disabled children, and we eventually lost on a technicality. And I said, I've got friends in California. I've always wanted to live in California, play rock music. I was sort of influenced by Neil Young's Rust Never Sleeps album. Shortly after moving out here, about a year, we formed the Rhythm and Sleaze Review. And our only paying job was at the Sutro Bathhouse, sort of like Bette Midler. And, we'd be competing with sex. And people couldn't drink, so they wouldn't be sort of jovial, So we were playing to a straight audience competing with sex. Marie and I sort of clicked because some of the first songs I wrote were dirty songs, and some of the first songs she wrote were dirty songs. She had this great song called Carrots and Candles about masturbation. And I had this song called I've Got My Period, different things to use and just what happens when one gets their period. Well, I got up in the morning and it was all red. Pee on me with all your might, pee on me, make it last all night. Give me life in a golden shower, pee on me hour after hour. Second 45, which got a lot of play on college stations. Came close, Virgin Records in London called us, but by that point We had also been signed by a management company that the guitarist in the band didn't want to have to play when they said play. And he would have been hard to replace. He's really good. That's the thing I miss most from, getting arthritis and being ill, is not being in a band.
Her top was down, it was always summertime, and all the boys waited to be in her line. She had Johnny the best by any design, but she wanted more than her fantasies, and she could get it with relative ease. She tilted Johnny and she's got big trouble. She'll be sorry, she'll burst her bubble, make her life a pile of rubble. She tilted Johnny, she'll be sorry.
Well, the band stuff stopped in about July of '89, and I thought, I'm really playing with time here anyway. In December of '90, the arthritis hit hard, caused by an experimental drug. So that was it. My fingers were just, mangled at the time, so I couldn't touch a guitar anymore. I was tipped off to a loft in the back of a factory. It was cold and drafty in 17 steps, which I went up and down on my butt for approximately 4 months. At that time, I went to Vermont to get stung, pea stings for the arthritis. That may have set off the CMV in AIDS. So I spent 3 weeks, maybe if I would have spent more, it might have worked, getting stung. And then came back and I didn't have access to beads. I was in a real quandary because, I had to do some drugs. And I switched doctors at that time, and the new doctor was very good, and she freaked when she saw the drug the rheumatologist was giving, because apparently it causes HIV to replicate.
Everything went wrong. Then she realized she never felt that way. When Johnny was there for her every day. She tilted Johnny, now she's got big trouble. Now she's sorry she burst her bubble. Make her life a pile of rubble. She tilted Johnny, now she's sorry. She tilted Johnny, now she's sorry. She tilted Johnny, now she's sorry. When I see you, I see red. Start a revolution in my head. Live fast today, tomorrow I'm dead. When I see you, I see red. Red, I see.
It wasn't until I was hospitalized in January, I sort of decided I had to leave work in October when I could no longer, the diarrhea was bad, and I'm at work and I couldn't make it to the bathroom. It was uncontrollable, just gas and liquid and blood. So I sort of had the experience of periods that
When I see you, I see red. Start a revolution in my head. Live fast today, tomorrow I'm dead. When I see you, I see red. Red, I see red. Red, I see red. Yeah, I see traffic lights. Yeah, flashing red in the night. Yeah, but I can't stop.
also at that time I was fighting an insurance company. They had given me one drug prescribed by my doctor and a gastroenterologist. And in April, they decided they weren't going to pay for it anymore because it was off-label use. It was approved for diarrhea caused by cancer, but not diarrhea caused by AIDS. And they were doing this with another drug, GCSF, for neutropenia, which is low white blood cells. Since it was approved for cancer, they'd pay for it if it was caused by cancer, but not if it was caused by AIDS. And We ran a tremendous campaign. We took out newspaper ads, tried to get employer groups to drop it, tried to get a boycott of consumers to switch, especially healthy consumers, to switch health. And when we ran ads in the Daily Californian and UCSF paper, University of California, San Francisco Berkeley was their largest employee group. The day the full-page ads came out, they went to 7. The best one we did was QualMed sponsored a Halloween health fair, but all the health plans had tables and there was a band. And we had flyers with a Halloween motif. So security would just walk by us. I think they thought we were part of the Halloween celebration. And we got out 500 leaflets, and I thought it was very effective. For the band and stuff, I had a great day job. I could make my own hours to a point, and I liked the job. There wasn't a day I dreaded going to. Yeah, it's interesting. The first Reno, after I was sick, and I put in a newsletter what was wrong. Because it's a way to reach 1,000 people, and all of a sudden they know someone who has AIDS. The first Reno trip, about a year after I left the job, it was really nice. And everyone made a point of coming up and shaking my hand or hugging me or something. I don't think there was a person on that bus who didn't touch me. It was very heartwarming. Administrative aide to the most radical Berkeley City Council, Mondale Sherry. She's 82. Yeah, once we got arrested in civil disobedience to keep an AIDS ward at the county hospital open, one of the policewomen came in and said, "Is there a mistake here? We have someone who says they were born in 1911? Another person like myself, instinctively right in terms of politics. Before I was guided by Karl Marx or Che Guevara, but now Frederick Douglass's quote of, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress," guides me.
I see the sorrow in your eyes, and it comes as no surprise to me that you're wondering just like me, is this the way it's supposed to be? quench to madness, and I really sense your sadness. If we all join in and sing, we could really stop this thing in this land of opportunity, home of the brave and free, so-called land of liberty. Everything's a possibility. Come on now, hold on to each other. We're all we've got today. Hold on to each other. There ain't no other way. Hold on to each other. We're all we've got today. Hold on to each other. There ain't no other way. There ain't no other way.
Well, for some reason, I've always been optimistic. I get that from my parents, I think. Also, they're working class and union, and you deal with the cards that you get dealt. You know, so I've never let it get me down. Plus the fact everybody dies, but the main worry I have here is suffering rather than death itself.
Por la calle Rivadavia, en la esquina Riobamba, vive un ángel allá sin casa, todos los años pasan en paz. Hace frío, si hace color, si hay sol o lluvia, oh dolor, vive con orgullo y dignidad. Cuando hay manifestaciones con las calles bloqueadas, cierran el subte cerca del Congreso, solo se ve su casa sin muros. La cana no deja pasar ni a los que viven allá, pero te deja como en casa, porque vos sos la única dueña. Si hace frío, si hace calor, si hay sol o lluvia, oh dolor, vive con orgullo y dignidad, siempre con orgullo y dignidad, todos con